If you're looking to open a daycare center and you've been asked to provide a set of financial projections to your bank or to a potential investor, then you've come to the right place, because we have developed a financial projection template that's built specifically for daycare facilities. And I think it's going to make your process of creating projections a lot easier. And so I'm going to walk you through this template. We put a link to the template in the description of the video below, so you can go grab that template and follow along and create your projections. But first of all, my name's Adam Hoeksema. I'm the co-founder of ProjectionHub. And over the last decade, we've helped thousands of entrepreneurs create financial projections for potential investors, lenders, and just internal planning. And actually, before my work started here at ProjectionHub, I was a director of a SBA loan program, a Small Business Administration loan program, where we helped a lot of small businesses, including daycare centers, create or secure SBA financing. And we often ask them for financial projections. And seeing the terrible financial projections that came to us and the terrible spreadsheets that came to us inspired us to try to create something better and more useful and helpful to you, and more customized for your purposes. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and dive into this template and show you how it works and how to fill it out. So we're going to start here on the At a Glance tab. This is kind of the end of the process. After you have filled out all of the assumptions for your particular daycare facility, then you're going to be able to see a profit and loss at a glance here. You're going to see a number of key summary data points, the total number of kids, the average children per room, your capacity, your average revenue per child per year and per month. A lot of key customer and kind of key performance indicators for daycare facilities that investors and lenders are going to love to see. You can also see some graphs and tables with a breakdown of the startup and uses of funds, and some graphs about key ratios and sales, margins, net profit, that sort of thing. You're also going to get 5 years of a projected income statement, a 5-year cash flow statement, a 5-year balance sheet summary, and then you're going to get those same 3 financial statements, an income statement, cash flow, and balance sheet by month for each of the 5 years. So you get that monthly detail as well here. So that's kind of what you'll get at the end of this process. Let's jump back to the beginning on the input assumptions page. We got to do a little bit of work to get there, and I'm going to show you how to fill this out to make those projections fit what you need. So the first thing to note here is that any cell that is highlighted in blue is an assumption that you can change without breaking something in the model. And so we have a start date, our projection start month here. We've got the ability to add new equity funding or investor funding of $50,000 here that we're assuming that we'll get on month 1 of the projections. We also have what are the startup expenses. So let's assume we're going to rent a space and we need to do some leasehold improvements. So we've got $50,000 of leasehold improvements, some furniture, $20,000 of furniture, $10,000 of kitchen equipment, and then some computers that we're going to need to buy. And then we're also going to need to get a loan, a $100,000 loan, to help cover the costs of some of these startup items along with our equity investment. And when you enter those assumptions in down here, along with your projected expenses and revenue, this table down here is going to tell you how much cash do you need to get started based on your startup costs plus the kind of projected working capital that you're going to need. You know, you may not be profitable on month 1, and so you're going to have to burn some money for a little while to reach profitability. And so this is going to tell you, based on your assumptions, how much cash you need. And then it's going to say right down here if your starting cash is sufficient based on your assumptions. And so we're getting a starting cash is sufficient, so we can move forward. All right, on the input revenue tab, this has been really customized. I think it's really useful for daycare facilities. So you're going to be able to put in the different category of children and kind of different age groups that you'll have, which each come with their own assumptions, like what's the capacity of a room, and then also what's that ratio of staff or teacher to children. And so you're going to be able to put in your custom ratios here. And then you're going to be able to put in what percentage of the children are paying by the month. And then are some of them over here, some children could be paying by the hour. So you might have some that, kind of come in a full-time basis every day. And then some, maybe perhaps you have an option where they just, certain days of the week, they stop by for a few hours, and that's a possibility as well. So you have that flexibility in this template. Then you'll need to put in the average hours per week that children that are paying on the monthly level, how many hours per week are they staying? And then for the hourly children, how many hours per week are they staying? So you can see the differences there. And then you'll have these rooms here. You can add specific rooms, and then a start month. So this is kind of assuming, like, maybe you start the daycare facility and you don't have all your programming up and running on day one. And so maybe, for example, you are going to add, you think in the future, another infant room or another toddler room. You can add those rooms in future months. So here we show starting in month 13 or the beginning of year 2, we're going to add the additional rooms here. And then this will pipe in the number of children per room limit based on the data above. An hourly rate and a monthly rate. And then a cost of supplies per room per month. So again, this is going to be your monthly rate for this category, right? So you're saying for infants, they're paying $1,500 per month. All right, so then you have the ability also to scale up the revenue over time. And so when you first open, you might not have a full room right off the bat. So you can add, how many months do you think it's going to take to reach that capacity level where the room is full after you open the room, right? And that is the bulk of our input. And based on those assumptions, we're going to be able to calculate a whole bunch of stuff. So you'll see our projected daycare revenue down here by the different categories. And then we're going to be able to also have our staff cost here. So we're based on the assumptions and the staff to child ratios that we have above. We're going to be able to project how many staff members we need in each room, and then be able to put in here an average hourly rate for staff. And then that will project our staff or caregiver wage expense. So you have your total daycare revenue and total cost of supplies and caregiver wages as well. Now we'll jump over to our input other expense tab here. And there's a few things you need to know here is that you can add different expenses, specific expense line items here, and then you can categorize them with this drop down. And if you want to add some categories, you have a few open slots over here. You can add a few more categories. And if you add another category, so for example, if I just say test and I come back over here, you'll see that test now shows up as a category there. So we'll remove that for now, but you get the idea. And then you can select whether the expense is a fixed dollar amount, meaning it's the same dollar amount every month, like it's always $500 for advertising, that's what you're going to spend, or it could be a percentage of revenue. So a good example of a percentage of revenue could be credit card fees. If your customers are paying via credit card, there's going to be a payment processing fee. And so here we have that selected as a percentage of revenue, and then we have it entered as 0.02, which is 2%. 2% of revenue is going to be now calculated as credit card fees. And then you can also have the ability to enter in expenses on a per FTE or full-time equivalent employee basis as well. So if you have specific expenses that are tied to each individual employee, like every time you add a new employee, you're going to have to spend, $20 more for a cell phone stipend reimbursement or something like that. You have that ability to add those in as well. And speaking of employees, the way to add in staff members, and these would be staff members that are not the caregivers, okay? So we've already taken care of, on the input revenue tab, the caregivers and all based on the ratios of children to staff. And so that's all taken care of. But here, what you're going to want to do is enter in any salaried positions that are not providing direct care to the children. So it could be admin positions, it could be the director, it could be maybe the like kitchen staff or something like that. And you can add in those job titles, a salary, benefits if you'd like, and then what month they are going to start. So that, again, that position could start in month 1 of the projections, or maybe out in the future as well. And then that brings us all the way back to our at a glance tab. And so this is going to be super helpful to any potential investor, or if you're trying to get an SBA loan or just any sort of bank loan to perhaps, it could be purchase an existing daycare center, start a new one, buy a building, build a building, renovate a building, all these things that you might need some financing for. This is the kind of information that they're going to want to see. And so if you have any questions about filling this out, we're happy to help. Leave us a comment in the comment section of the video below, or reach out to us at support@projectionhub.com, and we can certainly help you fill this template out for you or with you according to your plan, and we'd be happy to do that with you. So just reach out to us and let us know. Thanks.